Let's be honest with each other. A lot of people voted for Trump because of a promise. Not the wall, not the slogans. The promise that he'd bring jobs back. Not gig jobs, not the DoorDash economy. Real jobs, union jobs, factory jobs, American jobs. The kind of jobs that built the middle class. The kind where a man or a woman could clock in, do an honest day's work, and support a family without drowning in debt. And if we're being even more honest, it wasn't just Trump making that promise. Democrats made it too. Clinton, Obama, Biden. Every party, every president keeps saying the same thing in different words. We're going to rebuild American manufacturing. And it sounds good because it's what people want. It's what people remember. But here's the hard truth. That era is over. Those jobs aren't coming back. Not because of immigrants, not because of China, not because of some grand conspiracy to sell out the middle class. These jobs are not coming back because we automated them away. Because the world changed, and we never stopped to ask what comes next. And now with AI coming online, it's not just factory workers at risk. It's coders, designers, teachers, drivers, bankers, nurses. It isn't just right or left anymore. It's not red versus blue. It's the future versus the past. So the question isn't how do we get those jobs back? Because we can't. The real question is, what kind of future are we going to build now that we know the old one isn't coming back? It's easy to feel like something was taken from us, like someone pulled the rug out while we weren't looking. And in a way, they did, but not in the way we've been told. It wasn't just politicians or immigrants or China or trade deals, although all that played a part. No, the deeper shift, the one no one really talked about, is bigger than any one country or policy. It's a change in how the economy itself works. A change in what work even means. So let's stop chasing ghosts and take a hard look at what actually happened. Let's talk about what really happened to American jobs. It's easy to blame NAFTA or China or the border. And to be clear, there's truth in all of that. Bad trade deals and corporate outsourcing absolutely hurt American communities. Entire towns were hollowed out while CEOs cashed their bonus checks. But the bigger shift, the one we still haven't really dealt with, is this. We taught machines to do what people used to do. Manufacturing didn't just leave the country. It evolved. Car factories replaced welders with robotic arms. Warehouses swapped out human pickers for scanners and conveyor belts. Self-check stations cut cashiers in half. And now AI writes copy, answers customer service emails, even draws art, and drives delivery trucks. This isn't just about blue-collar jobs anymore. It's every collar. Accountants, radiologists, coders, teachers, even truckers. If the system can save money by replacing you with a machine, it will. Not out of spite, not out of some globalist plot. Out of profit. That's the logic of capitalism. Cut costs, boost returns, repeat. But here's the catch. And it's one we never talk about. If nobody's working, who's buying? If the system keeps replacing workers, who's left with enough income to be a customer? It's not just a labor crisis. It's an economic paradox. And we're already living in it. Our whole system is built around one big assumption. If you work, you eat. If you don't, you don't. We tie your worth with your job, to your productivity, to your economic output. But what happens when the machines are better at your jobs? Not because you're lazy, not because you lack skills, but because they don't sleep, They don't get sick. They don't unionize. We're facing what economists call a crisis of value. Not moral value, economic value. Our tools, wages, GDP, unemployment, no longer measure reality. We have record productivity, record profits, and yet millions live paycheck to paycheck. So what are we really measuring? Who are we leaving behind? And here's the thing. For decades, we've been told a story. Yes, jobs will go away, but the economy will grow, and the growth will lift all boats. That was the promise. That we could trade stable jobs for innovation. That we'd become a knowledge economy. That automation would make life easier, not harder. And to be fair, the economy did grow. Corporate profits soared. Productivity skyrocketed. American workers produced more value per hour than ever before. But most people didn't feel it, because the rewards for that growth never reached them. From the 1970s on, wages flatlined, even as the cost of living kept climbing. Let's put it in perspective. In the 1950s, a single income could buy a home, raise kids, and save for retirement, usually a company-sponsored pension plan. Today, two parents working full-time are still struggling to make ends meet, and millions are falling behind. And yet the stock market hit record highs. CEO pay ballooned. And we were told that if we just worked harder, maybe we'd catch up. But this wasn't about laziness or lack of ambition. It was about a system that decoupled productivity from wages and growth from fairness. The engine was running, but the wheels weren't touching the ground for most people. And underneath it all was a quiet spread of automation, machines and software doing more and more of what used to be your job. So here we are. We gutted the old economy in the name of progress, but we never built the new one. And now, with AI and smart systems advancing by the day, we're facing the next great shift, the third industrial revolution. Not sometime in the future, not decades from now. We're living through it right now. Let's talk about what that means. We're standing at the edge of something enormous, the third industrial revolution. That's what economist and futurist Jeremy Rifkin calls the shift we're living through right now. And to really grasp how big this is, we have to step back and look at the bigger pattern. Because this isn't the first time the world has changed like this. The first industrial revolution, roughly 1760 to 1840, was an era of mechanization, powered by the invention that changed everything, James Watt's steam engine. Steam made it possible to do more work than muscle ever could, and factories were born. Rural workers moved to cities. Handcrafts gave way to machines. Coal became the fuel of progress. The social order flipped. Time became something you measured by a clock, not the sun. Work was no longer tied to the land. It became something you sold by the hour. It was revolutionary. It was brutal. And it built the modern world. The second industrial revolution, roughly 1870 to 1940, was the age of electrification, oil, and mass production. And it was launched by two key events. The discovery of oil at Spindletop in Texas in 1901, and the widespread adoption of the internal combustion engine. These weren't just technical upgrades. They rewired the world, literally. Electricity lit up homes and powered machines. Cars replaced horses. Assembly lines turned workers into cogs, but also made goods cheap and abundant. This was the era people nostalgically called the American century, the golden age of the middle class. One job, one house, one retirement plan. But it came at a cost. A carbon-heavy system that's now driving ecological collapse. And it locked us into a model of centralized production, top-down control, and endless extraction. The third industrial revolution, emerging since the 1970s and accelerating now, is different. It's not powered by coal or oil. It's powered by code, by electrons, photons, and bits, not barrels or biceps. It's the fusion of digital networks, renewable energy, and automated manufacturing. We're talking about solar panels on your roof, not pipelines across continents. 3D printed homes, not mass-produced subdivisions. AI-driven logistics, not clerks or dispatchers. Smart appliances, smart cars, smart factories. It's decentralized, it's fast, it's adaptive, and it's still evolving. In theory, this revolution could usher in an age of abundance. Clean energy that never runs out, machines that do the grunt work, systems that optimize around efficiency, not profit. Freed human potential, not just to survive, but to thrive. But, and this is a huge but, it won't happen on its own. Technology doesn't come with morality. It just makes everything cheaper, faster, and more scalable. Whether that benefits everyone or just a few depends entirely on how we use it. And right now, we're letting it evolve without any real vision. Letting profit drive progress. Letting billionaires define what the future looks like. If we want this revolution to serve people instead of replacing them, we have to step up and start shaping it. Because like every revolution before it, this one is rewriting the rules of work, value, and power. And we still have time to decide who it works for. So, here's the question we're left with. If machines can do more and more of the work, then what do we do with the people? For over 200 years, we've tied value to labor. You work, you earn. No work, no worth. That's the story we've been told. But what happens when work disappears? Not because people got lazy, not because jobs went overseas, but because we built systems so efficient, they simply don't need us anymore. If a machine can plow a field, drive a truck, stock the shelf, scan the barcode, and process the transaction, where does the worker fit in? That's the world we're headed toward. And the old story doesn't work there anymore. It's time to rethink value. For too long, we've measured value only in terms of market productivity. What you can sell, what you can bill, what someone's willing to pay for. But here's the thing. Raising kids doesn't show up on GDP. Volunteering doesn't pad your 401k. Caring for aging parents doesn't earn stock options. Art, community, learning, mentorship. They're all invaluable. But they're not profitable. Our system doesn't reward what makes us human. It rewards what makes somebody money. That's not sustainable, not morally, not economically. Because when millions of people are no longer profitable, the market will discard them. But society still has to live with them. And we're already seeing what that looks like. Towns with no opportunities, spirals of addiction and despair, political rage with nowhere to go but backward, entire generations losing faith in the future. This isn't just a jobs crisis. It's a meaning crisis, a dignity crisis. So what do? We build a system that values people as people, not just as workers. We stop measuring human worth by how well someone competes with a machine. We build structures where basic needs aren't held hostage by employment. Creativity, care, and curiosity are seen as central to society, not side hobbies. Technology serves human well-being, not just shareholder return. Because if the machines really can take over the jobs, good, Let them. That should be a gift to humanity, not a threat. But to make that possible, we need to rewrite the rules of the game. If the old system is crumbling, what does the new one look like? Let's start with the basics. For most of human history, the deal, the social contract, has been simple. You work, you earn, you live. It wasn't perfect, but it was legible. The farmer works the field. The worker clocks in. The paycheck comes. Life continues. But if technology can now do most of the earning, what happens to the living? We can go in one of two ways. Option 1, let the system collapse. We cling to the old rules, blame the victims, hoard the benefits, and hope the unrest doesn't spill into gated communities. This is the path of stagnation, of widening inequality, of riots, repression, and decay. The Mad Max future. Or, option 2, we rewrite the deal. We accept that technology has changed the game, and we change the rules accordingly. That means decoupling survival from employment. Not because people don't want to contribute, but because contribution looks different in a post-work economy. So what does that actually look like? Well, a universal basic income. A guaranteed income floor, no strings attached. It's not a handout, it's a dividend. We created this advanced, productive society together, with generations of labor, knowledge, and innovation. We all deserve to share in its benefits. UBI doesn't kill ambition. It frees it. It lets people say no to exploitation. It lets caregivers care, artists create, students learn, volunteers serve. It gives every person a baseline of security in a world that otherwise treats you like surplus. Shorter work weeks. If machines make us more efficient, we should work less, not more. Why are we still grinding 40 to 60 hours a week in an economy that no longer needs it? We can distribute the remaining human labor more evenly, more fairly, and more meaningfully. Let machines do what they're best at: repetition, calculation, speed. Let humans do what they're best at: empathy, judgment, creativity. Public ownership of key technologies. When private companies automate entire sectors, they shouldn't be the only ones who profit. If AI replaces 10 million jobs, and the company behind it pockets all the value, we haven't innovated. We've feudalized. Instead, we can build models where the benefits of automation are shared. National tech dividends, cooperative data ownership, public interest platforms. Call it techno-socialism, post-capitalism, or just common sense. But the idea is simple. If technology replaces human labor, the people should still thrive. It's not about left versus right anymore. It's about forward versus backward. This isn't a utopian fantasy. It's a practical necessity. Because if we don't evolve our system to match our technology, we're going to see collapse, economic, political, and civilizational. But if we get it right, we could create the most humane, abundant, liberating society in history, the Star Trek future. We've built the tools. Now we need the courage to use them for us, not just for profit. Let's be honest. We've been chasing the wrong metrics for a long time. GDP goes up, but life expectancy goes down. The stock market hits record highs, but so do rent, medical debt, and despair. So, what is prosperity really? Is it more consumption, more extraction, more billionaires? Or is it something else? Prosperity isn't just about growth. It's about well-being. A prosperous society isn't one where 10 people own everything and the rest hustle to survive. It's one where people are healthy in mind, body, and spirit, secure with food, shelter, and care, free to learn, create, raise families, contribute meaningfully, connected to their communities, to nature, to a purpose. And yes, it's one where technology enhances life, but it doesn't dominate it. We don't measure with GDP. We measure in quality of life. Imagine if we designed society around that. What if our economy existed to support human flourishing instead of the other way around? That means investing in health and education, not just highways and banks. Prioritizing mental health and public happiness over quarterly earnings. Supporting caregivers and teachers and community builders as essential labor, not invisible or unpaid. It means moving from the logic of scarcity to the logic of abundance. Because when we finally acknowledge that we have enough to meet everyone's needs, the only question left is, do we have the courage to share it? Technology gave us the power to do more with less, but prosperity isn't automatic. Left to the market alone, we'll just get further inequality. But guided by values, by empathy, wisdom, and vision, we can build something better, something fairer, something freer, something actually worth inheriting. Look, it's okay to feel overwhelmed. That's a lot. Your job disappeared. Your town hollowed out. The world moved on and didn't ask your permission. Every politician just keeps saying, "Trust us, we'll fix it." But they never do. Because they're still selling the same story, that if we just tweak the tax code or elect the right guy, we'll bring the past back. We won't. But that doesn't mean we're doomed. It means we have a choice. We can keep chasing a broken system, or we can build a new one where work is meaningful or optional. Wealth is shared, not hoarded. And progress lifts everyone, not just the top. We have the tools. We have the knowledge. We even have the money. What we're missing is the will, the solidarity, the vision. But that's changing because people are waking up, not just to what's broken, but to what's possible. They're tired of being divided, lied to, turned against each other, while billionaires laugh all the way to the bank. We're done being pawns. Working people of every race, place, and party want the same damn things. Good jobs, safe neighborhoods, health care that doesn't bankrupt you, time to raise your kids, maybe take a walk, maybe sleep. That's not radical. That's human. And if the system can't deliver that, then it's the system that's failed, not us. This is bigger than right or left. It's about forward, together. The future isn't written yet. We can keep fighting over the scraps, blaming each other, and clinging to a dream that's already dead. Or we can choose to build something new, something bold, something beautiful, something ours. The jobs aren't coming back. But that doesn't mean we can't move forward. The future's not going to be handed to us. We have to build it. And if we do it right, it won't just be better than what we had before. It will be better than we ever imagined.